Hey there, Montcalm County. Welcome to Small Town Talks, where we dive into the beating heart of our community. I'm Liz Plater, and I'll be your host through this journey. Today, we're bringing you close encounters with the fantastic minds behind our local businesses. So grab a seat, relax, and let's embark on a journey of stories, insight, and the vibrant spirit that makes Montcalm County and the surrounding areas so special. The first episode of Small Town Talks brought us to the Greenville Area Chamber of Commerce, where we had a great conversation with Paul and Katrina. So let's get started. Paul is the director of the Chamber of Commerce. That is your official title, correct?
Executive director,
Ooh,
but
executive.
I know
Okay,
it's a little
sorry.
fancier. That's okay.
And Katrina is the member service administrator. Thank you guys for chatting with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
I just have a few questions, and we can jump right in if you're ready.
Okay.
All right. The Chamber of Commerce plays a vital role in connecting businesses. How do you encourage collaboration among local businesses? And are there any recent success stories that you could tell us?
Yeah, I think we were just talking about this afternoon because we were expecting your question. No, I think at the Chamber, especially our community events, the bigger community events, they're all collaboration. There's some type of collaboration in almost everything we do when we really stop to think about it. But the biggest ways that that's visible is during our big community events. So it takes so many people and businesses coming together to pull off an event. We can plan as much as we want, but the resources come from the collaborative efforts behind the event. The thing that really came to mind was this past year's Party on Lafayette, where we have a car show, and then we also have a pizza contest. And one of our pizza businesses that was participating said, we really want to figure out a way to give back to the community as part of this event. And so his encouragement was to us to think about the event from that perspective, but also encourage the other businesses to give back. And so in that way, the collaboration is even a bigger deal because we're helping the community as a whole. It's not just focused on the event. And so for me, that was something that really stuck out in my mind as far as collaboration. But feel free to add if you have any other thoughts.
Well, we just had our ribbon cutting for Larry's Northtown this past weekend, and there were at least 3 chamber members involved in that transaction. And the people who came to the event were so diverse in what they do that it was just cool to see those connections coming together to not only close a chapter of that business's business life, I guess, but to push it forward to be more successful.
Sure.
Yeah. Stuff like that's always really cool to see.
Great. Yeah, every time the Party on Lafayette gets mentioned, I think of your pizza sleeves and how mad I am that I didn't get to participate in that. So next year, you better do that again.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
We might have one around.
It's possible that we do.
All right. So my next question is, the small businesses are the heartbeat of the community. How does the Chamber of Commerce support and empower local entrepreneurs, especially those just starting out?
Yeah, again, so the first thing I thought of is the fact that as chamber members, a small business has access to all the exact same value and resources and connection as a large business. So for us, that's huge. But not every small business starts out saying, I'm going to be able to afford to be part of a chamber. They have to make decisions, especially early on, sometimes where that's just not part of the equation. And so I think ribbon cuttings are one of those things where we'll do those for members and non-members. And that does help promote things in the community. It helps. We just had a ribbon cutting with a Natural Obsession plant store down at the corner, and they're just brand new, never owned a business before, saw this cool space, and like we were able to help get them in front of the community. And so that's huge. And so I think having access to those types of connections is really part of how we can connect you with the daily news. We can get them out to cover this event. We can get you out on social media a couple times as part of that, and our newsletter. And so there's this residual thing that happens. And then, our hope is that business will grow to a point where they're like, you know what, I've seen that value already. I think I could get even more connection out of joining the chamber. And then again, they get to participate in that collaborative effort with everybody. So, yeah, I think it's vital. Small businesses are definitely the heartbeat of any community. The big businesses, they're great, but they often don't need that same kind of help.
Mhm.
You know, they're on the other end, almost contributing to the greater whole, so that small businesses can, do more. I think I see it that way. So yeah.
And going back to the ribbon cuttings, I like it when other businesses come to those. Like other small business owners will come to those and say, welcome to Greenville. Like, we're excited to have you around, and that you can see them support one another. Instead of just sticking with their own little corners, they're welcoming other business owners into the community, kind of lifting them up too.
Yeah.
So along that same line of questioning, I guess, for those who might not know and have never been to a Chamber of Commerce, what is something that you can say, just a short blurb about what you guys do, say, on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think we boil it down to making connections. So we help make connections between people, business, and resources. So that's kind of our 10-second. That's what we do. Now, there's a lot involved in those things, but we want people to connect to each other. So that's like community-based events typically. We want people connecting to businesses because we want our businesses to do well. We want people to know they exist. We want businesses to be able to connect to each other so that they can collaborate and network and do things with each other. And then we also want to connect our businesses to resources so that they can fill in those gaps, especially smaller businesses that need some help in a certain area of training or just understanding where can I get, marketing materials printed, where could I get some things embroidered for my business, like what. And so being able to connect people like that is probably the thing that we tell people the most, because everything else kind of flows through those channels, really. Okay. Yeah.
Very good. We've seen some awesome events in town lately. We've touched on those briefly already. Can you share some upcoming chamber events or initiatives that residents and business owners can look forward to?
Yeah, I'm going to pass this one off to the Grinch.
Like Paul said, we do a lot of the community events that by and large the community gets excited for, stuff to do, things to take your kids and other family members to, and stuff like that. Our business expo that we did this past October, that was our first one, and we're moving that to the spring. So we're excited to see how the movement of that just kind of shakes things up a little bit. Maybe, a little better turnout, a little bit more flexibility for people who couldn't make it in the very busy season of October, September, November, all the winter, fall activities. Other than that, just kind of detailing and fine tuning the things that we have been doing the past couple of years, and things that we do, we want to do them well. And so we want to make sure that we're continually improving on those things and making sure that we can do them the best that we can.
Sure.
Yeah, we also just put out a list of kind of our year in kind of at a snapshot of what our year is going to look like in 24. And we've had numerous businesses ask us, because they start planning in the fall for the next year. And that we heard 3 or 4, like in a short period of time. We said, we need to get this out there, at least enough with some dates and timing so that people know what to expect. And I think that's going to pay dividends this year. I think that will really help our members. I think it'll help us with communication. People will say, I knew that was coming. They don't just get surprised by it a month ahead of time. So again, that's part of what we're always trying to do, is just improve the way that we do things in our processes. So that's something. And also, I think we're going to be doing some strategic planning in 24, which we haven't done since we've been on staff. So I think that'll be good activity for us too. We have a new board member coming in, so that's going to be kind of cool to just help. When somebody's new, they always ask questions because they don't know, and so that forces us to think more. And like anytime that happens, when new members come on board, it's the same thing. They ask a lot of questions, and it helps us do our job better. So, and that includes events.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds exciting. The business landscape is always evolving. How does the Chamber of Commerce adapt to the changes in the community or the community needs? What strategies are in place to ensure
the continued success.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has changed in a short amount of time, right? And so I think about even like this week, we have something called a COG meeting once a month, September through May. And this Thursday is the last one for the calendar year. And we're bringing in the Right Place, who's talking about things around talent acquisition and management strategies, because there's a real changing workforce out there. And often what you're finding in some long established companies is that you have kind of a more experienced management staff and then a younger workforce coming in, and they don't necessarily always speak the same language. So what we're trying to do by bringing in the Right Place is give us some strategies to figure out, like, so what do we do? How do we do that? So that's one thing. And I think our COG meeting is a place where we do hear a lot of those types of things from the different organizations and what they're dealing with and the new issue that they're struggling with. And right now, I mean, a lot of it is employees, just getting people to hired, and a lot of businesses are dealing with that kind of thing. But we don't know that if we're not listening and if we're not asking our businesses what they're dealing with. So the COG meeting is a good one. We attended the, it's not the West Michigan, although
Michigan Association
of Chamber Professionals annual conference this past October. Where they cover lots of different topics, and they have speakers from the Michigan Chamber and from the United States Chamber of Commerce. So that's helpful because we also get a view kind of in a, we're in a small town. It's easy to like get focused here, but there's stuff happening nationwide and statewide that are good for us to be connected to and understand. So we're members of the Michigan Chamber too, so we get lots of updates via email about different things that are happening. So different things like that. I attend monthly a West Michigan Chamber Network meeting with other directors in the area. So, we chat about lots of things and what's happening in our different communities. Last month, we actually hosted it here in Greenville, and we had a panel of diverse business people that did kind of like we're doing here. They answered various questions, and it was really enlightening for us as directors to hear from our businesses at that level. It was really nice.
And we got to show off our building.
Yeah, that's true too.
Anytime you get to do that, it's pretty cool.
So I think there's a lot of avenues, and I think, you just can't ever be satisfied about where you're at and just expect that nothing's ever going to change.
Yeah.
You have to be ready for change as it happens, but seeking it out too, so that you're not surprised. I mean, we'll always be surprised, but I think it's important to, have our finger on the pulse of our businesses that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody really ever likes change, but incremental change over time for a greater good that's a good thing.
Sure.
And like Paul said, that's something we try to do pretty regularly is constantly think about how we can do something better. And if we don't need to do it better, then great. But most of the time we find a way to do it better.
Yeah, I feel like people are so resistant right now because it seems like things have changed so drastically, so in such a short period of time. Like it's throwing people off.
People want to go back to normal.
But I don't think it's going to.
No.
I don't
this
think it
is
is
normal.
I think we just have to find a way to move forward and make things the way that feel comfortable, maybe.
Yeah.
But we, on the day-to-day, we try to just communicate clearly what people need, what businesses need, what organizations need, because we live in the chamber world day to day. We don't live in their organization or in their business, and we need them to tell us what their needs are. And after every event, we send out a feedback request of like, tell us how it went, and I think some people are afraid to say if something went wrong, but we want to know genuinely, because if it's not working, we want to make sure that we're improving on it and making it work for the business and making it work for this collective of people that we get to assist on the daily.
Yeah, we might get really mad if people don't like what we do, but we'll get over it. And then we'll move forward.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a human reaction first.
No, because we put a
We're so
lot.
hard on it.
We don't just put effort in; like we do put blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It's like we really love what we do, and so like you think we had this really great idea and it didn't go over well, and it's like, oh, that hurts a little, but it's not personal, so we get that, and that just drives us to do it differently or better next time. So
we come from pretty differently distinct backgrounds, but the diversity of that helps us in our day-to-day with the different businesses that we get to help. It's just we work together well on that.
For the most part, it's just you two in here, right?
Yeah.
And you've got your board, but I imagine they only meet once a month, right?
Yes. Yeah. And there are different types of boards, right? Some chambers have a working board where each board member has a certain responsibility around the chamber activities. So you might have a board member who does this certain thing on behalf of the chamber. But our board is more of an advisory board. And so we don't have that here. So it's not that our board members are great and they do lots of work and they help and they're very attentive and will give us, support, but we don't have activities divided up by who's responsible. It's really on us to pull people in and to collaborate like we do.
Well, our town has a unique charm. How does the Chamber of Commerce work to promote the local character and ensure that businesses thrive while preserving the distinctiveness of our community?
Yeah, I love the way you worded it, because I do think that's exactly on point. And I've been here 10 years, about 3 years. Yeah. So as people moving from other places here, it grew on our family really fast. We just really loved the community from a real early on. You just get this sense of this small town vibe, but yet we almost have anything you could need here, which is really cool. And if we don't, Grand Rapids isn't far, or other communities are close by. So, but it still maintains that small town vibe. I think from what we do, utilizing the downtown when it makes sense, because it's not all about downtown, but we do love the downtown. But when it makes sense for a parade and for Christmas and for the car show, I can't think of a better place in town where you would want that. Like that just looks amazing down here. And so just utilizing the resources we have and pushing those out. So even with our community guide that we published this year, highlighting our parks, our kayak launch, our bike trail, the splash pad, disc golf, all these little amenities that, we're really fortunate in a small town to have all of those things. And so I think us making sure to help push those out there, even though those are city of Greenville things. Everything I mentioned, I think, is a city of Greenville thing. But they don't have social media. And we do, and people do look to us as sort of a visitors bureau-ish. That's not who we are, and that's, we don't really focus on that a lot, but that is how people interact with us many times. So we love our town, so we want to get that in front of people too. We're also ridiculously blessed to have 3 really cool museums in this little town. So, that's a huge thing, I think. And being a historic district downtown, that stuff we've got to even push more as we're doing things. So lots of times when I write even a Facebook or social media post, I'll say something about historic downtown Greenville. Just throwing that word in there, just reminding people that designation took a lot of effort, and it's worthy. This building is just about 150 years old that we're in. So we have a lot of history here, and I just think there's so many ways for us to remind people of that. So as we do events, as we publish things, we want to make sure to keep that in front. Yeah.
Even though they're all city things, that's what represents our members too. Our members are supporting these things and building back into those things too. And we want to connect people. We want to connect people in business. We want to connect community in business. And
I think that's why I'm so drawn to the chamber as well, because I know you guys see, I do event posts all the time. I'm always tagging events in the area. I think it's really important to get them out because people don't know that they're happening. And that we have so many great things at our disposal around here.
Yeah.
I know that from the standpoint of moms in the area, we're kind of lacking things for kids to do in the winter. But other than those months, there's so much to do here.
Yeah.
So I feel like people just don't realize that we have that much.
Even just recently with our Christmas event, weeks of, months of planning, weeks of promotion and marketing in many aspects, including print media, which we don't do for everything, but we do that for community events, social media, signs at the location. Like there were lots of different things that we did to get the word out. And afterwards I had one community member that said, we've been here 3 years and we miss the event every year. And I'm just blown away because you think, you think
hit all of it.
You put it all out there and it's, everyone knows, word gets out, and it does by and large, but like that hurts a little that person, even if it's one person, like it's like, man, I wish they would know because it's fun and it's like a great event.
And you want them to be there. You want them to enjoy it because you've put it all, all of the things together.
Yes, absolutely. But you can't get everyone.
No,
unfortunately.
But it's just like, what's the missing piece there? What is the missing? Yeah,
I think it might fall with like generation gaps, maybe, because everybody's either newspaper or social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if there's somebody in between right now, they kind of just don't.
Or if it's all newspaper and we only do that one time or two times, they might miss it, and
they might not pick up that copy or something. Like you're saying, for events and stuff. I mean, you said it earlier, the landscape of community has changed over the past couple of years, and to get that sense of being out and doing things and being with people and interacting it's changed drastically. And so to get, basically a whole new generation of like parenting out there to have their kids, interacting with other families and other children, it's different. And, you approach it a little differently. So I think organizations are on a little bit of a learning curve there. And how do we do that? And how do we make people feel comfortable and welcome and, just to enjoy what they're putting together.
And how do we get people to come out again after we've been hermits for 2 years because of an illness?
And we're so mad that we were hermits.
Right? Some of us kind of liked it. But yeah.
I also neglected to mention the amazing library that we have.
Oh my gosh,
Like that's the reason we moved here, really, because my wife was like, if they don't have a good library, we're not staying. And so we found it, and she's like, okay, let's find a house.
We go there weekly. Get a pile of books.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're not really lacking for any great resource like that here. I think, I think we're just incredibly blessed here. Yeah.
Got a little of everything.
Well, I think we have covered a lot of really good information here.
Yeah.
So it was great talking with you guys, and I really appreciate
so much.
you taking the time to talk to me.
For sure.
Especially